Hey everyone, it's Annie from Annie Unleashed. This video is about my 7 tips to travel to conferences on a budget. So if you are one of those people that loves to develop yourself professionally and personally, and sometimes that requires you going to conferences or seminars or workshops in person, I have 7 tips to help you make the most of your experience without breaking the bank. Because as we all know, when you have to go to a conference and you're paying for food, you're paying for your hotel stay, you're paying for, maybe you had to get a new outfit, paying for your flight, like all of that. And if you have an exchange rate you have to deal with, those things can add up. A couple weeks ago, I flew out from Canada to the US for a conference that's near and dear to my heart. It was deepening my level of knowledge with regards to some of the work that I do. So it was really important to me. But at the same time, I'm a single mother, I have my own businesses, and yeah, managing my budget is really important to me and a smart and strategic thing to do. So here are my 7 tips. Number 1, phone a friend. When you arrive at your destination, if you know anybody in that area, or you know somebody who's going to be there before you and they've rented a car, or you have a friend who already has a car, have them pick you up and take you out for lunch. You guys can hang out for a while. You pay for yourselves if that helps. And then afterwards, they can take you to your hotel room, especially if you book a hotel room close to the airport. That way, it's easy peasy. Now, that saves you an Uber drive, a taxi drive, those costs can add up. Or even a car rental. That can add up too, and I've done that before. So number 1 is phone a friend. Number 2, now this really depends on, do you go to the hotel first or do you go to the grocery store first? So let's say you end up at the hotel room first. As soon as I come into my hotel, as I'm checking in, I ask for all the kits. In fact, sometimes I even put in a special request before I arrive so they have them all ready for me. And by all the kits, the shaving kit, the shoe kit, the sewing kit, the toothbrush and paste kit, the extra shampoo and conditioner, extra tea and coffee. I always like chamomile tea, but they never seem to have that in my room, so I like to order that in advance. And I always ask for extra so I don't have to ask again for the duration of my stay. Oh, and extra toilet paper. I had a recent experience where they only had the one toilet paper that was on the roll, and whoever was cleaning my room didn't refresh it. So I almost got to a point where I almost used it all up, but I almost needed more toilet paper and didn't have access to it. So if they don't have an extra roll in there, ask for the extra toilet paper. Now I know some people will take that extra roll of toilet paper home with them. And the hotel includes a lot of those things in their cost for the night, and it's not that big a deal. Now, I have done that before, to be honest with you. I have done that in the past, but I don't do that anymore simply because the quality of toilet paper just has gone down in hotel rooms over the last few years. So it's even not worth it to bring it home because it's so flimsy in the first place. Oh, and another thing to ask for is paper plates. Here's why. Paper plates or even paper bowls are great, and I'm gonna tell you why because of the next tip coming up. But also, I had a woman who was, I don't know if she was in her 60s or 70s. I met her at a gym, and she used to travel all the time for her work. And one of the things that she did was she would ask for paper plates. And she would use those paper plates as tools to exercise with in her hotel room. So she always got her fitness in, no matter where she was or where she was staying. So you want paper plates for exercise and for eating in your room. That takes me to tip number 3. So one of your first stops should be the grocery store. Something local, something that's one of those average, affordable types of grocery stores. That's one of the first things that I do, especially if I've arrived before the conference actually starts. I kind of do all my recon, I get all the things ready and prepared. It saves me time and money later in my travel, in my conference days. So at the grocery store, you can get some food, and while you're getting some food, maybe that's fruits, maybe that's, some protein, some yogurt, some nuts, some granola, whatever the case is for you, you need some healthy things to keep you going, especially on the days when your conference is done, but you're still there. Sometimes you might stay an extra day or so because of your flight, but you want to make sure that you're fueled up properly because conferences and all the things that you learn and all the networking that you do, it takes a lot of energy and it takes a lot of mental energy because it's a lot of knowledge in a very concentrated period of time. So you really want to make sure that you're looking for healthy fuel when you go to the grocery store. At the grocery store, in addition to getting your healthy fuel and your food, you also want to look for plastic bags. The plastic bags that you put your fruit in, the plastic bags that you take all your groceries in. That stuff can come in really handy later, both for your snacks, but also for wrapping shoes. If you get any goodies at the conference, you want to wrap that up in plastic to make sure it doesn't get ruined or spilled on or any of that. So those serve as great packing material as well. The other option is if you don't get a chance to go to the grocery store and get food way cheaper than you would out at a restaurant, or especially for breakfast, then when you're at your conference, they usually have some snacks set out. Granola, some whole fruits, maybe some yogurts, things like that. That's another opportunity for you to take a couple extra. They usually have extra anyway for people. I always take maybe one extra depending on what it is for later, especially if it lasts. If it's the type of thing that lasts throughout the day, then I'll take an extra and I'll have it for the next day, or maybe in the evening, or maybe after a workout. Just some granola, some yogurt, some fruit. Maybe they have some goodie cookies or things like that. If they've got extra, take that. That saves you even more than going to the grocery store. And it's part of the cost of you going to that conference anyway. So grab a little bit extra. It's like the adult version of trick-or-treating, except that you don't have to dress up in a weird costume. You don't have to do any tricks either to get your free snacks. So that's tip number 3. Tip number 4 is, if you can, if your conference finishes before 4 or 5 o'clock, scoot over to a local place to have dinner during their happy hour. Happy hour ends at 6 o'clock. So in my recent conference that I went to, I discovered that there was a couple local restaurants that were very high quality, but they had happy hour dinner up until 6 o'clock. So as long as I got there before 6 o'clock and ordered by 5:59, I could order off the happy hour menu, which was cheaper and it had enough options and good quality food and protein to keep me going energy-wise, physically and mentally. So happy hour. That was my tip number 4. Or if you don't want to stay in the restaurant, if you're by yourself or you just don't feel like hanging out in the restaurant, you'd rather maybe take the food to go back to your hotel room and maybe study up or catch up on work or call family or your loved ones, that's okay too. Go for happy hour. It usually ends before 6 o'clock. Order your food way cheaper than if it was on the regular menu. You save some money there too, and you can either eat it there or take it to go. Tip number 5, if your hotel has a gym or a pool, use it. You will need the gym or some form of exercise to keep your stamina going, build that level of resilience. Going to conferences is like the intellectual version of boot camps. You're getting a lot of knowledge, you're doing a lot of networking, especially if you're not the type of person that likes to socialize a lot. It can be very energy draining. But also the level of knowledge that you're trying to absorb is also very energy draining. So you need to, and you're sitting usually all the time, like for hours and hours, right? And you don't want to miss a beat. So you're literally sitting there for hours in your chair trying to absorb this information. So it's really important to balance the use of the gym or the pool that is already included in the cost of your hotel room. All you got to bring is a couple gym clothes or a swimsuit and go and do that exercise. Go decompress, even if it's just to kind of lay there in the water and float if you're good at floating. It also is really great because it gets movement going in your body. It helps prevent the extra weight gain that happens when you go for conferences. You ever notice you go to a conference and by the time you came back, you're like, wow, what happens? Like, where did this all come from? Well, it's because you've been sitting for hours eating junk food and you did an exercise to get the body and the blood circulation going. It's really important for your mental health, your physical health, your emotional health. I remember one conference I was at the rooftop pool and hot tub, and I was there. I just went there by myself. There was a bunch of people that I knew, but I just decided I needed to go there and just decompress from the day. And so what happened is that there I was in the hot tub by myself. I actually wanted to be by myself. I was trying to work through some bad news that I had just received. And next thing you know, one person joins the hot tub, the other person joins the hot tub. It actually turned out to be the perfect thing. I didn't know these people, but we ended up chit-chatting, socializing. They didn't know what I was going through, that I was processing some bad news. And it actually turned out to be the perfect thing, because sometimes when you hear bad news, the worst thing that you can do is be by yourself. So it was a great distraction. I did end up telling them afterwards, and that actually the conversation that we had was so helpful. So it's a great way to also connect with other people and network if that is right up your alley, or you use it as a moment to decompress and just be by yourself, connect with yourself. But it's a great reset. So use the gym or the pool. It's already included in the cost. You just got to make the time. It's great for your physical health, and it's a great reset for you so you can go back for the next day of your conference. Tip number 6. If breakfast is included in your hotel fee, then go and check out the breakfast. They usually have a bunch of dried foods that last and that you can take with you, whether it's to snack on during your conference or maybe later on in the evening when you're in your hotel room but there's no breakfast food laid out. Grab the fresh fruit. You know, they usually have them whole to go. Grab cereal boxes. If you like butter or cream cheese or jam, get all those freebies, because if you did go to the grocery store and you get maybe a couple bagels or things like that, you don't want to pay for a whole jar of jam or cream cheese or peanut butter or whatever it is that you like. You can grab them for free at the hotel breakfast that's already included in your hotel. So take advantage of that. And tip number 7 is ask for extra notepads and pens. If you have any kids at home, it's great as gifts when you come back. They just love to play around and write and draw and things like that. It's also really handy for you. We always need more at home of these like notepads and pens. So I always ask for extra notepads and pens. It could be great for during your conference if you need to jot down something really quickly, or for when you go back home. Little notepads are always handy, and they're free. Those are my 7 tips for traveling to a conference on a budget. I hope those helped you out. If you have any tips that you have figured out on how to travel for self-development, personal or professional, on a budget, I'd love to hear from you. Put it in the comments, and I do respond to them personally, but also we're helping each other out and everybody else that is in our community. Hope you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one.